Now, before getting into the video, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Now, the reason why that I post mostly manga videos rather than anime, because I mostly do not have the time to watch a full season of an anime anymore. I am at that point as an anime fan's lifespan where you could barely get through even just one episode of an anime anymore because of how much you've watched anime your whole life. I will clarify myself that throughout the years that I've been overall preferring manga as my form of medium. First off, for me, mangas are much less time consuming than watching anime because of the speed and pace in which the way I read them. Funny thing is, I also want to get into reading actual books, so manga's been my way of getting me used to reading. And with watching anime, I have to be sometimes in a specific designated area for me to properly enjoy it and to not disturb others. So manga is better in that aspect since you literally can read it anywhere. And now that I have a channel, I have been trying to discover and read new manga to share with you guys. So having the ability to read everywhere saves a lot of time. Like the only reason I've been able to catch up to One Piece was because of those instances of reading when I'm just not doing anything. Like when I'm waiting in line, for example. And even though the current airing of the One Piece anime I heard has been amazing, but I still find myself not interested in watching it. If it's not an incredibly animated fight, in which case I just watch a clip of it by itself if it's a fight I've been wanting to see animated. But in terms of story elements and dialogue, I would rather just read it in case I miss something important, and all I would do is just scroll up or flip a page. And depending on the length of the chapters, by the time I watch 3 episodes of an anime, I have probably already read 30 or 40 chapters. And again, depending on the story and pacing of the show, that 30th or 40th chapter may probably be the 12th episode of the anime. And also, I know this is anime's 7 out of 6 or whatever. 9% of the time, I skip openings and endings. Because one, I don't want to see visuals because I can easily spoil myself. And two, the songs can get repetitive at times. I will listen to them by themselves if they're good songs, but that's just about it. I just don't want to waste my time. Now, for another reason. When reading manga, I can actually focus more on the story without any distractions. And what I mean with that is that when you watch a specific anime, there are a number of factors that I find myself focusing on other things besides the story, and that can be what leads us to your attention, especially when it comes to music or animation, I guess. And even the terrible animated ones. I am saying this, but you can also be distracted by a specific manga when it also comes to the amazing artwork and paneling. For me, I think the manga, its truest intentions is for the reader to focus more on the actual story it's showing, the dialogue, the world building, the event that's currently taking place within that self-contained story, against how anime does it with its beautiful OST and hype animation. But really, it can be sometimes be the cloak to make it look aesthetically pleasing. I have shared this opinion with other people before, where Demon Slayer is a perfect example. When you take away its beautiful animation, as it's the reason why it became one of the biggest anime in this current era, as soon as you take away those things and just look at the story objectively, over time you can begin to notice flaws within the story itself as a whole. I myself was guilty of this during the airing of the first season of Demon Slayer, so I decided to read the manga a bit just to stay ahead of things. I was just genuinely curious, but as I continue reading, I find myself not necessarily enjoying the story. And that's where I think you can be tempted or distracted by the visuals of an anime, where you look at it with rose-tinted glasses and just force yourself to like it. Don't get the wrong idea. This is not me saying that Demon Slayer is a bad show. I'm just saying that it does not have one of the most strongest stories out there. I may prefer manga, but I do not think in all aspects it is superior to anime. A lot of manga out there have vastly improved due to their anime adaptations. Certain stories work much better as an anime due to their specific ways of storytelling. Certain stories work much better as anime due to their specific ways of storytelling, like Demon Slayer. Hunter x Hunter is another good example because of the sheer amount of exposition with its manga, and I think that's why I prefer Hunter x Hunter as an anime rather than a manga. And again, relating with my point on manga being less time-consuming, I think being able to read a story and maintain a sense of understanding of that story without any specific distractions is so enjoyable. And when you do read manga, you may have a sense of appreciation of the author. Whereas in an anime, there's a lot of people that goes into making it, which is obviously praiseworthy. However, I feel when we read a manga, we are able to truly connect and appreciate the creation of a specific author and their intentions and emotions through their ways of their artwork and dialogue. And this is where another point of mine goes back to why I read more manga now. I do believe that for myself, I have more of an emotional connection when it comes to manga. But I can understand that some people can also be emotionally connected to anime, as it has happened to myself many a times. But with all that said, I think there are animes out there that because of specific things, those specific things are what makes a person more connected to anime than manga. Because of the music, because of the animation, it would somehow be a much better experience than manga because of those things. To me, I'll disagree on that matter where anime as a whole has more emotional connection than manga. I think when it comes to the best mangas out there, the author and their manga are able to evoke emotion with the readers and then make it resonate with them without having the need from outside factors like music and animation. And many times to me, when finishing an anime, I feel as if there's still something missing, as opposed to manga where I would feel satisfied most of the time when how it ended. A Silent Voice comes to mind with this. I first watched the film, and I find it to be one of my favorite anime movies of all time, alongside Spirited Away. I think it's a fantastic movie that I still highly recommend. However, when I decided to read the manga a few months later, it made the story feel more emotionally whole and adds more depth to the characters as I was able to understand more of them. I was able to understand more of the characters' emotions and what they were going through. And after that, where I was able to rewatch the film again after reading the manga, even though I still think Kyoto Animation did a fantastic job on the movie as a whole, the story now felt to me as if it was something missing. And while of course, when you are adapting a 7-volume manga, you will have to cut out parts of it, create a 2-hour movie. I still recommend people to watch Silent Voice. I think it's a great movie. Okay, enough of that. I have one more that I'm still conflicted over. It's whether the fight scenes in a manga can be as clean as anime. The first thing that immediately comes to mind about fight scenes in manga is probably like One Punch Man. And that is, I think, a very good example when I prefer the manga over the anime for its fight scenes. But I think that's a completely predictable and obvious example. Okay, I think for me, in terms of series that have like grandiose fight scenes with supernatural powers, I would prefer them to be in anime form. Example for me is like One Piece. For One Piece, I read it for the lore, but for the fight scenes, I much prefer them to watch them in anime. And I think scenes that focuses on more like hand-to-hand combat or just little or no supernatural stuff, I would prefer them in manga. And depending on the author, those fight scenes are done amazingly, say like Holy Land or Records of Ragnarok. So I would say the big advantage that anime has over a manga is the animation itself and the added music and voice acting, which can really tip the scales in terms of atmosphere. Now, you can feel free to disagree on my points that I've said in this video, because at the end of the day, when it comes to your preferences of medium and the story in general, these are all things that are definitely subjective. Enjoy what you enjoy. It's interesting because for me, whenever I finish a series and decide to put them on my list, I firstly think how much I enjoyed it, and the few moments after that, I will usually rank them objectively. So I think how I rank my anime slash manga is around I'm 55% subjective and 45% of being objective. Like say for example, Frieren. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed reading my time with it. Frieren, where based on how much I enjoyed it, I would put it at an 8 out of 10. But my objective part of my brain comes out and then I eventually put it at 9 out of 10. That's just my way of listing things, and it's not going to be the same for every series. There are plenty out there that I have put way higher because of how much I enjoyed it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry about the rant on that last part, but with all that said, that has been so far on my take regarding the anime versus manga debate. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section, and if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.